Good morning. Everybody hear me? You hear me at the back? Give me a wave. Thank you very much. Oh, that's what I like, a bit of participation. Right, we've got 45 minutes, so I'm going to go fairly quickly through the stuff I've got to talk about today. Ironically, this is the second part of a presentation I did earlier in the year when I was still on the same stage, I think back in June and July. But today is going to be more about giving you activity, strategy and tactics that can take your gym business forward rapidly if you want to. I'll promise you two things there. Like I say, the first one is that I will be able to give you the opportunity to learn things that I've used with over 700 gyms to generate over £1 billion in revenue, 5 of which are my own, which I sold for 24 million. So I had a trumpet, I would blow it, but the only reason to do that is to go, look, this stuff works, and I've done this for a long, long time. So if you watch, great. If you take it away and implement, then some of the things are really powerful for you. I'm Adrian Marks. Like I say, very, very quickly, these are my pronouns. I'm too old to understand what that means, but that's what I am. The two that are most relevant to you, the last one, I specialise in behavioural marketing. I'm an expert according to Forbes magazine. Not quite sure what that means, but and my mum thinks I'm a bit of a guru, which to me means more. But the first one is I'm a business owner and seller. I've bought and sold or grown from scratch 3 businesses. The most important one is a gym business. I grew to 5 gyms and then sold that to Duncan Ballantyne with my partners for 24.13 million back in the late 90s when 24.13 million was a lot of money. So I jest. For the last 20 years, I've helped businesses deliver the type of stuff that I learned way back around how and why people buy and what they do. I do that through my agency for big multi-site clients such as Orange Theory, Cash Converters, Haven, bits and pieces. But more importantly for you guys, I have a number of smaller accelerator programs around numerous industries, and one of them is the gym industry. And like I say, the programs and the things I'm going to talk to you about today have been implemented into over 753 gyms as of this week. So, bit of social proofing. I have or do work with those brands on there through my agency as well as smaller gyms. Anyway, so that's the first thing. The second thing is I've got 45 minutes to run through, stay me through to the end, and I'll show you the marketing funnel that we use with all our gym businesses, which has generated £1.2 billion over the last 14 years. And I'll share with that at the end. And also, and this may not work, last night over a large bottle of red and some vodkas, I agreed to do some additional stuff with IG. So we're going to give the opportunity to work with me and my team personally, which I'll go through at the end. My team back in the office are currently building a landing page, and there's a QR code at the end for you to go to. I just hope that it works by the time that we get there, that we've got 45 minutes and counting. So, going back to the basics, dealing with business is hard work. Like I say, I run my own business. I don't stand on stage all day and talk about stuff I've read. I'm in the trenches. I understand how difficult things are. But what I've learned over the years is there's only one thing really that can kill a business, and that is the inability to get and keep customers, members, clients at a high enough volume and a high enough profit margin. That's it. Everything else is a cost to you. Everything else is a drain on the money you make. Everything. And when I go through that and talk to clients about it, it usually boils down that this inability to get and keep customers at high enough volumes falls down to lacking in 5 key areas. And those 5 key areas are ultimately a lack of intelligence around how you position and how you target, which is where it all falls down if you can't get that right, particularly in a localized market. The second thing is the ability to create a proven funnel around your marketing and sales that generates leads consistently. The third one is a lack of pricing elasticity, and I'll spend a bit of time talking about that later, but that one thing alone, done right, will triple the profits you make in your business overnight. And I mean overnight, within 30 days, you can triple your profitability if you're a small business. If you've got 10, 20, 30, 40 clubs, you are probably more proficient at some of these, and therefore that is slightly a too high a promise. But if you're an independent gym or you've got 2, 3, 4 sites, it's really easy to do. I'm on a timer. And And the last one is the lack of the ability to implement things properly. We get caught up in the day-to-day. You need somebody that's doing points 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's the best investment you can make. The irony is we'll spend 200 grand on leasing equipment, we'll spend 30 grand a year on a lease and everything else, yet we won't employ somebody to actually fill up the one thing that we've spent all our money on. And I've added the word over the last couple of years effectively because with the things with AI and what the platforms are doing, particularly across digital and social, they're becoming more complicated. So if you've got somebody that's implementing, that's good, but if you've got somebody that knows really what they're doing, then that is really, really good. So the next sort of 45 minutes is going to be around that. Now, there are only three things. Like I said, my background's behavioural science or behavioural economics, how and why people do crap, how you open their hearts, how you open their wallets, and keep them happy. It also works when you're dating people as well, by the way, so you can adjust these strategies. Different topic, but it works. But there's only three things. And the first one, the first step into being able to be more profitable in your business is you need a better understanding of why people buy things. I'm going to spend a short period of time on that today. Not normally what I would do, but I want to give you strategies, which is what Rob and the team want me to do. The second thing is to understand how they buy stuff. They have a way of interacting psychologically of buying it. If it doesn't fit with the way that you're trying to sell, you've got problems. And the third thing is then you take your sales and marketing and you line it with points 1 and 2. Simple, in theory. So I'm going to go through 1 and 2 in the next 5-10 minutes and try and get 25 minutes of quality stuff that you can take away with. So, like I said, my background is why people do stuff. We only do things for two reasons. You're either moving towards pleasure or you're moving away from pain. That is it. To survive in the caves and on the plains thousands of years ago, we generally kept still until we were hungry, and then we went and killed something. And we had to make sure the species survived, so we kept still for most of the day, and then we had sex in the evening. Pretty great life, killing and sex. Both of those now are more difficult than they were a few thousand years ago. But that's ultimately what we're driven by. You're here today because of one of those two things, or both. You have a problem or a pain that you think coming and listening to me speak could help alleviate, or you have an aspirational gain to be better and more forward than you are, hence that one. Or it could be both. And it's why you came to the event today as well. It's why you brush your teeth, why you get up in the morning, it's why you get divorced, it's why you get married, all of those things. Those two physiological and psychological factors drive everything, and they're emotive. And therein lies the problem. Because we don't think we're emotive, we think we're relatively intelligent. And compared to the rest of the planet and the animal kingdom, we are. But we're not up against a lot. So, what we need to understand with that is, therefore, if everything is driven by the emotional, physiological, and psychological needs, sorry if this is getting a little bit technical, it gets easier, then we are in a process where we're unable to buy stuff or do stuff logically. We can't do stuff rationally. People that get married quickly, divorce quickly, buy things quickly, don't wear them again, all that stuff is irrational, it's impulsive, and it's illogical. Everything. You will justify it with logic because the scientific term is you don't want to seem like a bit of a bellend, but that's basically what we all do. And my favourite example is this, and I fall into that, I identify as a bellend, so I'm just going to go with that. Private number plates. Okay? It's a £212 million a month industry for no reason whatsoever. Well, logically, it makes my older car look younger than it is. No, it doesn't. Still looks like a 1927 Volkswagen van. Doesn't. But we don't do that. We don't buy it. We don't buy number plates like that logically. We don't buy anything logically. And the big brands get this. And you go, oh, well, they're big brands. The reason the big brands are where they are because they get it. They understand that you don't need to buy any more of their shit. I'm not supposed to swear today. We're recording it. I'll try and tone it down a bit. Let's take Louis Vuitton. They don't sell handbags. You may buy a handbag. Sorry, I'm pointing at you. You may buy a handbag. Do you have a Louis Vuitton handbag?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, no. What it's selling you is wealth and luxury and an aspirational lifestyle. That's what it sells you. It understands that. Because there's enough cowhide, crocodile hide, panda leather, whatever they use, if you can use panda leather, to make 1 million bags a month. But they don't. They make it hard to get. They make it expensive. Costs about 50 pence if you get 3 children in China to knock it together. Again. And what they do at the end, they never have sales, by the way, and they only sell through concessions or their own stores. And do you know what they do with the stuff they don't sell? They burn it. They incinerate it to a crisp. Because if they get it discounted and sold, it damages the brand and it damages what they're selling you. Because if you can go and get them anyway and get them a discount, guess what it's not giving you? Aspiration, luxury, wealth. Same with Rolex. Rolex is my favourite one. You went to Rolex during the pandemic, you could not get a watch. Everybody tried to buy one, you couldn't get one, to go to the grey market only. And the irony to that is, watchmakers sit in isolation on their own building a watch. COVID had F all to do with it, but it was an opportunity for them to hike their prices and increase demand. And since COVID, the Submariner watch was £8,995, it's now £14,000 for those that know watches. And the irony to this is that this is a survey for men, I'm sure ladies are probably the same, and all the other genders and stuff are probably the same, but only 4% of men use their Rolex watch to tell the time. The other 96% use their phone. That was a survey done by Rolex. But they don't care, because they don't sell you a timepiece to sell the time, which is the only function it has. They sell it because they want you to have the status that comes with buying a watch. Now, I know they're high-end things, and you're going, Adrian, I'm not a Rolex, I'm not a Louis Vuitton. Well, we'll come down the chain a bit. Nike. Nike do not, this says sneakers, by the way, because I did this for UFC last month, and they didn't know what trainers were. So Nike doesn't want to sell you another pair of trainers because you don't need another pair of trainers because you've got the same amount of feet yesterday as you have today. 2. Therefore, you only need 1 pair of trainers. I love this in this industry because we all think I've got about 12 pairs stuck in the cupboard. But that's what we do. But what Nike sell you is aspiration, is grit, is determination. It's the 1%, it's success. Nike sell you, just do it. But the only thing you just do in your Nike trainers is go to the local Co-op at night to buy yourself a bar of chocolate and milk. Okay? There's a discord between what you think you are buying and what you use stuff for, if you actually need stuff. And let's go to the bottom of the food chain. Well, they're not bottom of the food chain. McDonald's are the biggest restaurant chain in the world. That's astonishing. The biggest restaurant chain in the world. Are they the best restaurants? Is it the best food? Is it the best locations? Is it the best menu? Is it the best ingredients? No. So how are they the biggest in the world? Because they're also not the cheapest. Okay? But they don't sell you burgers and fries, that's the product. What they sell you is reliability and convenience. Because you can go to any McDonald's on this planet, or stay in the UK. In the UK, today, and for the same price, get the same food with the same ingredients that taste the same. That's why you buy McDonald's. And if you've got children, there's a third dimension to this, which is safety. Your kids don't get ill eating at McDonald's. What you don't want is your 3-year-old or your 6-year-old crapping through the eye of a needle at 2:30 in the afternoon on the way back from nursery. Okay? That's what they sell, and they understand that. So, what does that mean for you? It means people aren't interested in your gym. They don't care. They just want to be healthier. They want to be wealthier. They want to be stronger. They want to be thinner. They want to find a partner. They want to fall in love. They only care about what you sell them, like every other product on the planet makes them feel and makes them look. I've got a little green thing up. I meant to mention at the start. If people take slide pictures and that, the ones with little green things on are probably worth taking. So that is that. Step 2, that's why people buy stuff. You can convince yourself you're different, you're not. You can convince yourself your gym's different, you're not. Okay? Everybody buys things for the same reasons in the same way. How I'm going to show you very quickly, because I want to get into the crux of stuff, really. We have something called the change continuum. You go from indifference to awareness to consideration to preference, intention, how far have we got, to action, which when you're selling stuff is buying, and then you go into habit, which in our world is buying stuff more often. Make sense? Now, the scientific term for indifference is I don't give a crap. If we take weight loss and keep that theme all the way through, let's say we need to lose, you'd find someone that doesn't need to lose any weight whatsoever. This young gentleman here, Douglas, good friend of mine. Let's say we need to lose 2 stone in weight. Not suggesting you do for 1 minute. And you're recording this, aren't you? So let's take that as a premise all the way through. There are plenty of people on this planet that need to lose a lot more than 2 stone. I look at the back end of the things, I'm not looking at anyone in particular. America is where you find a lot of them. Okay? But when they're in indifference, which is there's no pain and there's no pleasure involved in changing, they don't give a crap. They're happily sat there eating and getting bigger and fatter, whatever. But the minute they go into awareness where there's a pain or a problem or an issue, or they become aspirational in their viewpoint around it, they never go back. They enter what's called problem aware. From there, they go into consideration. Now, to lose 2 stone, you can do a number of things. You can join one of our gyms, yeah? Or you can have liposuction. You can take Wegovy, you can take Ozempic, you can have liposuction, I've said that. You can have a gastric band. You can buy a bike and ride it. You can buy a dog and walk it. And technically cut off a limb. Last one's relatively harsh, although it does, no chance of putting that back on. Okay, so you go into that consideration, then you go into preference. What is important for me? You then go through from preference to intention. I'm going to do something. Guess what? Most people don't. Then you go into action, and action is when you buy stuff. Okay, and when you do stuff. Now, what that looks like I say, you have problem aware, which is something has to like and resonate with the person that has the problem. This is where your advertising kicks in. So actually, at that point, they don't know about you. They don't know about your solution. They know about a problem. You need to go, hey, I can solve that problem. That's your first point of conversation. From there, they then need to start to desire you a little bit, or desire and narrow you down in terms of what will work. At that point, they are solution aware. It's not until they have a preference that you rock up on the scale. I'm going to join a gym. Now, they might start to recognize your name. Now, they might start to recognize your advertising. The problem is, by this time, you're into such a small percentage of the population, it's difficult. Intention is about creating value. They have got to value what you do, and it's got to solve that pain or add that pleasure. And then intrinsic value, for them to buy what you offer has to be more valuable than the money they give you. Not the same, because we're risk averse. We will not part with our cash unless the upside is massively in our favor. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a bit. And then emotional engagement, that's how they keep coming back. Right, onto the clever stuff. Onto the stuff now that you can go and actually put in your gym based on those 2 previous things. Okay? Like everything else, and I suggest there's lots of tricks and traits in this that I suggest you do, I've created the 7-figure gym formula. Yay! Okay? I have the 7-figure healthcare formula. I have the 7-figure retail formula. I have the behavioral selling model for those that want to pay even more money. Create an IP for yourself. Not just name of your gym. We do this. What it gives you the ability to do is go, I'm uncomparable. You can't compare me to anybody else now, because guess what I've got? I've got the 7-figure gym formula. Want me? I'll have a bit of that. Does that make sense? That's the first thing you need to be doing with that. It's 4 frameworks. And like I say, again, a bit of social proofing, which you should be doing in before and afters and everything else. This has gone to 753 gyms, and we've generated 1.2 billion in revenue for those clients. Won't work for me. I've done it in 12 countries. I've done it in 13 countries now, and 7 languages. And I've done it for boot camps, I've done it for CrossFit, I've done it for franchises, country clubs, health clubs, budget gyms, PT studios. This is not a gym-specific strategy, although I've adjusted it so it's more effective for you. It's how my people buy aligned with your marketing. So let's crack in. What is the formula? The formula is really easy. This is the mathematical, behavioral economics. This is the economics bit. You need traffic. You need an audience. You then need to be able to convert a percentage of that audience into an inquiry. Okay? You then need to convert a percentage of those inquiries into a sale. I told you this was really straightforward. And then you need to understand what the value of each member is across its lifetime to you. That gives you your revenue growth going forward. However, this elasticity of this model that's frightening, because audience will cost you per 1,000, cost you something to reach 1,000 people in time, energy, or money. You decide. Inquiry will have a cost per lead. Your sale will have a cost per acquisition, and your average sale will have a lifetime value to it, an average lifetime value. So think about this. If you can put strategies in place, now I've said to you, you can 10x your profitability without spending more money on marketing. So I'm going to pretty much ignore investing in the first one. Whatever you're spending, we'll stick with. But imagine if your leads are currently costing you £12. If you can get that cost per lead down to 3 using proven strategies, you've increased your leads by 400% without spending any more money on marketing. If you're currently closing 40% of the leads you got, and you can use some of the conversion strategies I'm going to show you, and you can take that to 40 just to 50, that's another 20% on top of the 400. And if you're, let's say, a budget gym charging £20 a month and they stay 10 months, it's 200 quid. How about if there was a way to get the average lifetime value from 200 to 300? Now, that's not going to 10x your profitability, but it'll probably 2x, so your revenue, probably 2x your revenue. And if you get 2 or 3x your revenue, you know your P&L, what does that do to your profitability? It can be huge, absolutely huge. So what does that look like in the real world? It looks like this. The 4 frameworks I talk about are based around 4 simple things. Attention, that's the first one. We get that wrong, we're in trouble, and it's really difficult nowadays to get attention from the audience. The second one is persuasion. Getting people earlier in the concept to talk to you, engage you, and get into your ecosystem so you've got them and they don't leave. You get them at problem aware. Third one is conversion, how we can improve sales, obvious. And finally is escalation. And that's the one I think, if anything today, if you're not doing, that can triple your profitability, quadruple your profitability in days if you introduce it. And it sounds far-fetched, but if you aren't doing some of the things I'm going to talk to you about, the upside is massive. I'm going to go quickly through the 4 frameworks. I'm not going to touch on, we have 18 gym secrets, another IP that sits within them. I'm going to focus on one from each one, which I think will give you the biggest barometer for growth. So, with attention, you've got a number of key factors. If you can harness the attention of your market, whether it's in your local town, whether you're global, whether you're online, if you can harness that attention and own it, guess what? You've won. Game over. Everybody else is absolutely just is. But it's getting harder to do. It's getting harder to do for 2 reasons. The first one is that paid media costs are going up. In the last year, you've seen Facebook ad costs go by 59%. Over the last 18 months, you've got Google and you've got TikTok and you've got YouTube going through the roof. So you've got to get better at getting more for the money you spend. And the numbers are frightening. Facebook's got 200 million business on it as of 2020. It was growing at 30% a year. So they've not released recent figures, but it's probably close to 300 million. And if there was 10 million people advertising against you, it's now closer to 20 million people advertising against you every day. But the irony is, that's not your biggest problem. Sorry. Not your biggest problem. The biggest problem is this, it's the amount of stuff that's out there, the amount of content. And by the way, don't be fooled into thinking your competitors are your competition. They're not. They won't know what they're doing. They're unlikely to be very profitable. And if they're a big chain, they're funding growth at a loss. They're not important to you. That's not your competition. Only 4% of gyms, allegedly, make wildly profitable businesses. Okay? 4%. 60 to 80% of gyms make no money or lose money. So don't look at your competitors. They're not important. If you think they're doing something, you need to copy it. If you've got proof that it works, hack it, copy it. But 9 times out of 10, it isn't. This is your competition. It's the Joe Rogan show. It's memes, it's TikTok, it's GIFs, it's Reels, it's stories. It's Kim Kardashian's arse. That's your competition. That's what's in front of your potential members and your existing members every single day. The numbers are frightening. There's 17,000 titles on Netflix. And Netflix, do you know what Netflix say their competition is? And this will resonate when I tell you. You would think, well, it's got to be mainstream TV, it's got to be Sky. No. Netflix say their competition is sleep. Who's lost a night binging on Netflix? 1-0 to Netflix. That's their competition. Look at the other numbers. 125 articles posted every hour. 29 million podcasts currently airing. 29 million. Look at every hour YouTube's 250 million are watched. 500 million tweets per day. Facebook's nuts. 4.7 billion activities, sharings on Facebook every day, including just over 500,000 comments. 250,000 shares and 130,000 uploaded images every single minute. This is what you're up against. If your ads don't cut through this, you're absolutely shot. And on top of that, you've got your DMs, you've got your WhatsApps, you've got your Messenger, you've got everything else that's taken up attention. And then there's email. Who sends emails? Yeah? It's a free way to reach people. But emails, there are 347 billion emails sent every single day. That's what you're up against. It's this fight for attention. How long do things last? Well, I post on Twitter, I post on TikTok. Those are the minutes. You post on TikTok, the bulk of your like, shares and stuff are done, on Twitter is done in 18 minutes. I haven't got time to go through them all. 21 hours on Instagram. Okay? This was last year. A company called Graphius did the research. Came out again last week, so I bodged the slide. 11 minutes on Twitter. Facebook's dropped from 5 hours in terms of how long your posts will resonate and gain likes, shares, and whatever. That's if you can get anybody to do it. Because again, on top of that, Facebook is throttling back. If you've got 600 people that follow you on Facebook, I'd be surprised if you get more than 6 or 7 likes or shares. It's throttling it back. It doesn't want the people that follow you to see it because you're a business. It wants you to pay for them to see it. It will throttle it back. So again, that's just that. My favourite slide. And because I'm not allowed to swear, I'm now just going to leave that there. You are sat in the middle of one giant fest of online content and you're in competition with everything and everybody. So getting your attention-grabbing stuff right is absolutely essential. So how do we do that? Well, first and foremost, we need to remember 2 things. Most gyms think that members actually give about their gym. They just don't, and that's not me belittling everything. People don't care about my business. They don't care the fact I run a business growth accelerators and I own a customer acquisition agency. They don't give a monkeys. Just a marketing agency, a business growth consultancy. There's thousands of us. But if I can do something for your business and I can help you grow and get you more leads and more sales and more money, now you're interested, okay? And the biggest thing you have, I've just shown you all the content that goes on, all the things that you and they are hit with every day. And most gyms just sort of sit there marketing as if the members are sat all alone in a room, just waiting for your next post so they can go on and join. Sitting there waiting. If they saw you yesterday, they've forgotten about you today. If they see you today and you don't do something tomorrow, they'll forget about you tomorrow. Okay? Which brings us to the framework. Brand response marketing. It combines behavioral economics, how and why people do stuff, how they click, how they tick, how you open their hearts, minds, and wallets. But it's blended in with what's called direct response marketing. Do this now. Get this now. In this online world, if you promise something's happening in a week's time, you could do that a few years ago. You can't. If you're promising something, it's happening now, and you've got to react now because when they scroll past, they are gone, and they're gone for good. Okay? You need to learn the skill of swapping time or energy and money for attention. Because the minute you get that right, every pound that you invest or every hour you invest will give you back £2, £5, £10, £100, £200 plus, whatever that is. And once you nail that, you've now got a money printing machine. You've got a fruit machine that pays out every time you put a coin into it. So I'm going to go through messaging. There's 4 parts to that whole thing with the brand response framework: media, market, messaging, etc. Okay? Media is straightforward. What platforms should you be on? As many as you can afford, as many as you've got time for, is the answer. Which are the best ones for me, Adrian? At the moment, it's Facebook, it's Google, it's YouTube. They are probably an Instagram that ties in with that. They're the best 4 in terms of return on investment. TikTok's cool, hard to sell on it. Snapchat's confusing. Yeah, all the other platforms will eventually catch up, but they're the ones that you should be on. But at the same time, you're a local business, I presume most of you. There are traditional things you should be doing. Mindshare, I've talked about that. What do you want to be known for? And that's all you talk about. Market, I'm going to come to in a minute, and messaging I'm going to come to in a minute. There's a 5th one called movement. There's 5 M's to this. The more frequent and consistent and constant you are in your marketing message, the more successful you will be. The best gym never wins. Ever. Ever. The best marketed gym takes down the best gym every day of the week. Wrongly so, but that's the way it is. Always has been in any industry and continues to be. The market I'm going to talk about, you need to decide what your market is and have a hungry crowd, and it needs to be big enough. If you sell left-handed scissors to non-binary hairdressers with ginger hair, you need a global market. And even then, it's probably not big enough. So I haven't got time to go into this, but if you are trying to just get in ladies in their 50s or 40s or men in their 20s, your market's 5% of your population. Immediately, you've got probably 80% of people aren't interested in what we're doing. Then you're going to halve it by bringing gender in down to 10%, and then you're going to go, well, you've got to be 30. So I'm not saying you don't niche advertise, you do, but you niche advertise across a platform. Does that make sense? And what you're looking for is a hungry crowd. You can have, if you have a hot dog stand, you give them the nicest burgers, nicest hot dogs, greatest relish, greatest marketing, greatest... But unless you've got a bucket load of people walking past who are hungry, you're going to sell nothing. Same in any business. The market is the who is more important than the what and the why and the how. And we get to message. Now, a lot of stuff we talk about gets quite complex, but what you are saying needs to match what they are buying. And I remember them buying emotionally. They're not buying anything other than removing pain, moving towards pleasure. Immediate and slightly less immediate down the line. And very quickly, what are those? Frustrations and anguish? Hey, I can get rid of that. I'm upset, I'm overweight, I don't feel good, I'm unhealthy, I'm always tired. I can get rid of that. I want this, I'd love to be like that. I can do that. And that's immediate. But most of us live in the future as well. We live in the whole thing of fears and anxieties. It's going to get worse, it's going to be awful. And not with me, it won't. Yeah, but I'd love to be in a position where I have this and my life's this, and I can give you that. That's what they want you to say, not this is the rack, and we go up to X amount of weight, and we've got 8 treadmills, and don't care. Now, you can argue the amount of weights and the size of your dumbbells and everything else is relevant to what they're trying to achieve as a result, because if you haven't got the equipment to deliver the result, that's important, but it's not the key driving factor, okay? And that complex graph of behavioral economics and physiological elements to how they buy, you need to simplify, because that's not what they're interested in. You need to literally have an understanding that you will post an image somewhere. All the image is supposed to do is stop the scroll. Stop the scroll. You struggle before and afters on things like Facebook sometimes, or they have relaxed it, but the aim is to stop the scroll. That's it. 80% of what you will get from your marketing will be in what's called your headline or your primary promise. Are you A, looking for B, to achieve C without all the usual crap of 1, 2, and 3? That is the ultimate marketing line that you would lead with. That stops people moving on, and they read the rest. From there, you look at focus on your perfect member. Write every single ad you've got for the perfect person you want. The rest will come in anyway. From there, you write like you talk. You keep it short sentences, less than 10 words. You don't use jargon they don't understand. Okay? And then if you want to use, oh, we've got X amount of treadmills, and we've got this, and we do that, and stick it in what I call a logic sandwich. Lead with emotion, stick all your list of facilities in, we've got 17 car park spaces and all of that, and then finish with emotion. So your logic is a sandwich. Sell the next step only. If you need to get somebody in to sell them, sell the visit. If you need them on the phone before they can join, sell the phone call. In marketing, your job is to sell purely the next step. And then an obvious and clear call to action, which most ads miss. What I want you to do, when I want you to do it for, and why you should do it. Make sense? And that is the brand response framework. Where you put that is up to you. Facebook, Google, TikTok, posters, flyers. Get your mum a sandwich board. Just get out the front, get it working. Wherever you put that, but that's almost where your message needs to go. The smaller the space you got for the ad, the tighter that needs to be. The longer the copy you write, the more effective it will be. So if you send emails, make them as long as possible. You need to entertain and engage, you need to cover those steps, but you're flying. Lead generation framework. We talk about selling the first step first. At this point, you're exchanging money for access, an email, a phone number, or a visit to your website. Because once you go into the ecosystem and using Facebook and Google Pixels and everything else, they can't leave. That's what you're trying to do at this stage. I'm going to give you 2 things about why you should look to build a persuasion model into your business. The first one's the wider market opportunity, okay? Only 5% of people are ready to buy what you've got now. 60% don't give a crap, but it leaves 35% of people that you're losing out of. And if until you wait until they're ready to buy, they may go somewhere else. And it allows you to literally overnight increase your leads by up to 500%. Remember this model here? How my people buy? 5% are in the intent phase, purchase phase now. There is 30-odd% going, do you know what? I need to lose 2 stone. So that is where your relationship needs to start. That is where your marketing needs to go, not there. By all means, sell to the 5%, don't walk away, but that's where your marketing is. That's your sales point. That pivot point there is your marketing. No one builds muscle on a first workout. No one gets married on a first date. So why are we trying to sell to people the minute they first heard about you? Just don't do it. And what it allows you to do then is to create what's called a compound effect. Month on month. And this I'm going to run through really quickly. And this will. If you run a traditional marketing process where you're trying to sell something, you generate 100 leads a month, and you convert 80, great, you've got 80 sales. If you run a brand response pre-phrasion type ad and get people earlier, you get 300 leads minimum instead of 100. Now, you won't sell many more to start with because they're much earlier in the funnel, not ready to buy yet. You might sell 10% more. Hey ho, extra 10 sales. But by month 12, you've got 750 leads you're working on. That month's 300, plus all the others that haven't sold. By then, you could be up to a 50% increase in sales. And looking at some of the numbers down the line, if you look at year 5, which is a long time away, or it isn't, 4 years ago, the pandemic started. You can get 12,000 leads on an email database that you can reach for nothing. Conversion framework, I'm not spending a lot of time on that, because I want to get to the last piece. There's a number of things with that, but the key one is creating an irresistible offer. Don't sell dumbbells. Focus on the wider opportunity. The quicker you do something, by the way, speed of sale is game-changing. Salesforce reckon from their surveys, if you follow up a lead within 5 minutes of it contacting you, they're 10 times more likely to purchase from you in the long term. So let's look at irresistible offers. We've talked about this. You're not selling your product. You're not selling your services. You're not selling your knowledge. You're not selling your skill set. All of that's relevant to them buying, but that's not what you're selling. You're selling the results that you can deliver based on the needs that they have and how those results will make them feel. And this is worth taking a picture of. And I'll read it out, and it needs reading it several more times. The prices you can charge and the number of sales you make will link directly to the size of problem or pain you promise to remove with certainty and speed. I need to lose 2 stone. I can do that in 30 days for you, sir. I can't, but play the game. 60 days we can do that. I'll do that in 60 days. Are you certain? I'm so certain. If you don't do it, I'll give you your money back. Speed, certainty, promise, result. That's what they're buying. That's what you need to be selling. Touring around the gym is great, but not until you've got that and you deliver that promise. Here's a few. Try 3 for 30 days. If you don't like it, bugger off. Netflix are having that for 6 years, took them to 112 billion in revenue. Don't do it anymore. Domino's Pizzas. Delicious pizza at your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. £6 billion business built on the back of that in the US. Here's one you can put up if you like, something similar to that. Lose up to 2 stones in less than 60 days with our XYZ super fantastic unique training model, or your money back. Here's an ethical bride. I'll talk about how I sell stuff and how I do stuff. Gym Accelerator will pay for itself for the whole year within 90 days, or give you back every single penny you have paid me, and we'll part as friends. That's an offer. That's how you sell somebody, because you need to make it more difficult to say no. Make sense? And finally, leverage framework. My favourite one is sell the bear a spoon, but we haven't got time to do that today. We're going to focus on squeezing the sponge. You leave money on the table by not putting together what I call a conversion stack. A conversion stack is a layer of pricing that people can buy into. Not all your members are created equal. Do not think they have the same money as you. Some of them have a bucket load more, and some more have a bucket load more than the ones with a bucket load more. That's why businesses do what they do, and BMW is an example. They sell cars from £22,543 all the way up to £121,987. A 500% increase in pricing for what is technically the same wheels, the same leather, the same cows to make the leather, the same horn, the same doors, the same engine, the same ignition system, the same dash-ish. Why do they do that? And what's the difference to BMW? It's a few add-ons, it's slightly different shape, it's a bit more R&D, it's a nice bolt-on, it's some badges, it's a little M thing. It's nothing. But to the consumer, for the buyer, or the buyer, that's French for buyer, is the value given to those things by the individual. That's what's important with this. So how many of you sell your basic BMW 1 Series every single month for £20 or £30 or £40? Yeah, same thing. But how many of those people would have bought your BMW X5 SUV F-Off Series if only you had one to sell them? That's game-changing for you as a business. Charge £20 a month, create stuff at £500 a month and in between. No point going to 25 quid, that's not going to move the needle. Create something at 500 quid, okay? And an example, running out of time. You either sell a product, a service, or you sell access. As you increase the value, because these things need to increase in value, you can increase the price. But what's interesting is you increase the value, increase the price, the results for them increase disproportionately, and they get better results at the top end. And I'm going to run through a number. Let's say you get $19.99 for your basic gym membership. Stick in some small group PT at $199. Stick in a weight loss guaranteed 4-week program, 6-week program at 499 quid. And if you're at the top, work down. And if you're at the top, go the other way again. What can you charge more for? Because if you leave the money on the table method, let's round this up to 2,000 members at 20 quid, it's £40,000. You stick in a small PT scenario and sell 6% of your members on it, do a weight loss program every month and sell less than, or sell 1% on it, you double your revenue. Just under. You end up with £73,000 in revenue. £37,500 more than you had at the start. That's nearly £500,000 a year, and that's only if you've got one gym. It's game-changing. You just need to have the confidence to do it and believe the results you can deliver. So let's recap very quickly before Rob drags me off. No one's interested in the gym. And that's not being personal. No one's interested in my marketing business. People are interested emotionally in how you can make them look and make them feel. Remove the pain, give them pleasure, give them the result they're after, and guarantee it. And they go through that process. Indifference, awareness, consideration, preference, action or buying, habit or repurchase. All you need to do is build a framework over the top, control the attention, get inquiries much earlier in the process with persuasion, learn to nurture and convert them with irresistible offers, and ultimately sell them what they can afford, not what you think you can afford. And I talked about the inability at the beginning of stuff, the inability to grow and scale a business. It works the other way. There's 5 things that you just need to do. If you can get these right, then you're flying. First one, as I said, is affordable, emotionally engaged traffic. The second one is building a sales and lead funnel that starts much earlier in the process with a first step first or a freemium model. A great offer they can't say no to, and then leverage the crap out of them. Give them what they want, give them the results they need, and then find someone to do it for you. I promised to show you the funnel that we use. We've had £1 billion worth of money through Stripe on this funnel for clients. It's really simple, it's really easy, and it follows the steps I've just talked about. First one is we run free one-day passes, low bump offers, low sales offers, first booked pound, weight loss challenges, everything that goes. There is no risk to you. Talk to us. That's the first thing we do. We also run bundles around, watch this 6-video series on how to get healthy at home and engage them around the problem. That then pushes them into persuasion where they give you their data and you capture that data. You then stick an irresistible offer in front of them. You incentivize them to come on board, whatever that looks like. Give away your first month, give them a donkey, you need to add an financial incentive in, unless you're right at the very, 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 very top end, and I'm talking over $200 or £200 a month, where it's counterintuitive to do that, you do it if you're outside of that. From there, you upsell, you squeeze them, you put them into conversion stack, high ticket offers, £400, £500, £600, £1,000. There is a percentage of members that will buy it, and there's a secret to this I'm going to reveal in a minute. If they don't buy, great, give them a 48-hour bounce back automated series that gets them to come in with an additional incentive. If they do buy, you then go back and upsell them again. And if there's no sale, you create an automated, ongoing marketing program to keep those people advertising forever. When I analysed the bigger chains in the agency that I work with, over 25% of members that came onto the lead generation process took 2 years to join. I doubt you will be much different. If you stop advertising after a month, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Just think about that for a minute. And this is the beauty of it. That will give you a higher cash return to the cash you spend, so that funnel becomes a flywheel, and you take a proportion of the additional money you're generating and you put it back into your advertising, and that flywheel increases on speed, and on and on and on, and you create a relentless sales and marketing machine. That's it. I promised you at the beginning I'd show you that. I also promised you I'd do something else. And I've had a hands up at the back, so all this is in place, so I can do this. We're going to do, for anybody that's an IG member, we're going to put on a free boot camp, one-day boot camp. We sell these to clients at £3,000. Our top clients get them for nothing. We're going to put one on just for IG members. It's worth £2,975. Use the code IG24. If you click either text that number or scan that, you'll get it for free. I think we've underestimated how many people are going to come on board. We're going to put another one in January because it's gone nuts this morning. But this is the big but, and I cannot lie. For you, those old enough to remember that. That's a different code to the one that's out there. You get preference for having listened to me for 45 minutes. Listen, thank you so much. Before I get dragged off, I'm going to say enjoy the rest of the day. It's been a pleasure talking to you all.